The council chamber was packed. Representatives from 40 different species filled the seats. 3 senior galactic justices sat at the high bench. They would make the final decision. News cameras lined the walls. Everyone wanted to see what the small Velkari girl would say. Doyun sat in the front row, his hands gripped tight. Nari stood at the center of the chamber, looking very small under the bright lights. Her skin flickered nervously between gray and pale blue. High Counselor Velta spoke first. He stood with another Velkari, an ancient female with skin that shimmered silver. Before the child speaks, we wish to introduce Master Velsana. She is the eldest living conduit trainer. She has traveled 3 months to be here. Master Velsana moved slowly forward. She was old by any species standard, but her eyes were sharp. She looked at Nari with intense interest. "Child," she said in a voice like wind through leaves, "I have trained 7 conduits in my 300 years. Each one was precious. Each one was important to our species. I do not come to take you from your father. I come to understand what you have become." Nari swallowed hard. "Thank you." The eldest justice, a crystalline being named Tharkesh, spoke. "Nari of Velkar, you are at the center of a complicated legal situation. We have heard many arguments about what should happen to you. Now we want to hear from you. Tell us what you want." Nari looked back at Doyun. He nodded encouragingly. She took a deep breath. "I want to stay with my father," she said. "I want to live in our apartment and go to my school and see my friends. I want to eat dinner at our table and read books before bed and wake up knowing I'm safe. But do you not want to learn about your abilities?" Veltas asked. "Do you not want to help your people?" "I do," Nari said. "But I don't want to leave my family to do it. I already lost one family. I can't lose another one. Your people need you," Veltas pressed. "One child's comfort is less important than—" "I know what you think," Nari interrupted. Her skin flashed purple, determination. "You think I don't understand. You think I'm too young to know what's important. But I understand more than you think." She walked to the center of the chamber. "Dr. Yunji says my powers can share emotions with anyone, not just Velkari. She thinks it's because Doyen taught me that love doesn't need the same biology. I want to show you something. I want to show you all how I feel. Is that okay?" The justices looked at each other. Finally, Tharkesh nodded. "You may demonstrate." Nari closed her eyes. Her skin began to glow, slowly at first, then brighter. The light spread from her body like ripples in water. It reached the first row of seats, then the second, then filled the entire chamber. Suddenly, everyone in the room felt something. It was not their own emotions, it was Nari's emotions flowing into them like a river. First came the darkness. The deep, horrible emptiness of losing everything. Everyone in the chamber experienced the moment Nari's colony burned. They felt her terror as she hid in the rubble. They felt the crushing loneliness of being the only survivor. Days and weeks and months of gray nothingness where even breathing felt too hard. Some people in the audience gasped. Others started crying. They felt what trauma truly meant. Not just sadness, but the complete shutting down of everything that makes life worth living. Then the emotions shifted. They felt Nari at the shelter, noticed by a quiet man who sat near her without demanding anything. They felt the slow, painful awakening of hope, the terror of trusting again, the fear that this good thing would also be taken away. They felt Doyen's emotions too, somehow his own grief and loss, his exhaustion with being alone, his desperate wish to matter to someone again. They felt the first night in the apartment, when Nari held Doyen's hand in the darkness, how that simple touch started to heal them both. The emotions kept flowing. Memories of learning to eat again, to sleep again, to feel again. The first time Nari laughed at one of Doyen's terrible jokes. The day she realized she could be happy without feeling guilty about it. The moment she first thought of him as father in her mind, even though she was too scared to say it out loud. They felt ordinary moments that meant everything. Reading books together, cooking dinner, sitting quietly and being comfortable with silence. The safety of routine, the warmth of being wanted. Then they felt the fear when her powers emerged. Not fear of the powers themselves, but fear that they would tear her away from the home she had finally found. The nightmares of being sent away. The desperate wish to just be normal, to just be a kid, to just be loved. And finally, they felt something that shook everyone in the room. They felt Nari's love for Doyen. Pure, simple, powerful. The kind of love that only a child who has lost everything and then found something precious can feel. It was fierce and vulnerable at the same time. It was the love of someone who knows exactly how much they have to lose. The connection ended. Nari swayed on her feet, exhausted from the effort. Doyen jumped up and caught her before she fell. He held her close as her skin faded back to normal colors. The chamber was completely silent. Several people were openly weeping, regardless of their species. The tough security officer, Tae-hyun, wiped his eyes. Ambassador Youngmi covered her face with her hands. Master Velsana was crying too, silver tears down her shimmering face. She stood up slowly and walked to the center of the chamber. Her voice shook when she spoke. In 300 years of training conduits, I taught them to share emotion within our species. I taught them control, precision, and duty. She looked at Nari with wonder. This child just taught me something I never learned. She taught me that the boundaries we believed were absolute are actually just walls we built ourselves. She turned to the justices. I came here ready to take this child to the monastery, to train her in the old ways. But now I understand she is not just a Velkari conduit. She is something entirely new. And the reason is standing right there, holding her. Master Velsana pointed at Doyen. Humans bond emotionally across species in ways most of us cannot. They see family where others see aliens. They love without limits. This child learned that from him. She evolved beyond what our species thought possible, because a human showed her a different way to exist. High Counselor Velta stood up, his skin flashing colors of confusion and frustration. Master Velsana, you cannot seriously suggest, and I seriously suggest we were wrong, the old trainer said firmly. We came here thinking we knew what was best for our species. But we were thinking about the past, about preserving what we were. This child represents something better. A future where species barriers mean less, where love crosses biological lines, where healing and connection matter more than tradition. Ambassador Youngmi stood up too. High Counselor, I have served as liaison between humans and Velkari for 15 years. I have always supported our people's interests. But Master Velsana is right. We cannot claim to know what's best for Nari when we do not truly know her. That human knows her. He saved her. He earned the right to be her father. Velthus looked around the room. Other members of his delegation were looking uncertain. The emotional experience had changed something in all of them. We came here to reclaim our property, he said slowly. But she is not property. She is a person, a child, and we have been treating her like a symbol instead of a living being. He sat down heavily. I withdraw our petition. The Velkari Remnant Council will not seek to override the adoption. The chamber erupted in noise. People talking, crying, arguing, celebrating. The justices called for order. Finally, Justice Tharkesh spoke. Based on all testimony and evidence, including the extraordinary demonstration we just witnessed, this council rules that the adoption stands. Nari will remain with her adoptive father, Doyun of Earth. Doyun felt tears streaming down his face. Nari hugged him tight, her skin glowing brilliant gold. Joy and relief and love all mixed together. However, the justice continued, we also recognize that Nari's abilities are important and should be developed. Master Velsana has offered to relocate to this station to provide training 3 times per week. These sessions will include students from multiple species, as Nari's unique abilities may benefit all of galactic society. Master Velsana nodded. I will stay for as long as I'm needed. Teaching this child is the most important work I will do in my lifetime. The ruling was final. The crowd in the chamber slowly dispersed. News cameras captured everything. Within hours, the story would spread across the galaxy. The human who fought for his adopted alien daughter and won. But Doyen did not care about any of that. He just held Nari close, feeling her heartbeat, grateful beyond words. Dr. Yunji approached them with a smile. That was the most incredible thing I've ever witnessed. You showed them something most species never learn. What's that? Doyen asked. That love is not about biology or destiny or duty. It's about choice. About showing up every single day for someone, even when it's hard. About healing together. She looked at Nari. You're going to change the galaxy, little one. But more importantly, you already changed each other. That evening, Doyun and Nari went home to their apartment. Everything looked the same, but somehow different. The fear that had hung over them for weeks was finally gone. We won, Nari said, still not quite believing it. We did, Doyun agreed. What happens now? Now? Doyen smiled. Now you do your homework. Then we eat dinner. Then maybe we read a book. Just like always. The news spread across the galaxy fast. Within a week, every major news station was talking about the human who adopted a Velkari conduit. Some called Doyen a hero. Others called him selfish. Everyone had an opinion. Doyen tried to keep life normal for Nari, but it was impossible. Reporters waited outside their apartment. People stared at them when they walked through the station. Nari's school had to hire extra security. I'm sorry, Nari said one evening. This is all because of me. No, Doyen said firmly. This is because other people are making this into something bigger than it needs to be. You didn't ask for any of this. Station Administrator Jiho called an emergency council meeting. Representatives from Earth, the Velkari Remnant Council, and several neutral species gathered to decide Nari's future. Doyen was required to attend. The meeting room was huge and intimidating. Doyen sat at a small table with a lawyer the station provided. Across from him, the Velkari delegation had 6 lawyers and 3 cultural experts. High Counselor Veltha spoke first. The facts are simple. By Velkari law, which predates current Galactic Council rules, all conduits must be trained at the sacred monastery. This law has stood for 3,000 years. It is not negotiable. The Velkari cultural expert, an old female named Velkana, stood up. Conduits are not just individuals. They are living treasures. They connect our people across space and time. To deny us this child is to deny us our future. Earth's representative, Ambassador Hyunwoo, argued back. The adoption was legal under station law, human law, and current Galactic Council regulations. Ancient Velkari law does not override legal adoption procedures recognized by 43 member species. The debate went on for hours. Legal terms Doyen did not understand flew back and forth. He felt small and helpless. Finally, he raised his hand. Can I speak? Administrator Jiho nodded. Please, Doyen stood up. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all these laws, but I know Nari. 6 months ago, she was a broken child that nobody wanted. She didn't talk. She didn't eat. She barely lived. I took her home and I loved her. I taught her it was okay to feel again, to trust again, and now she's happy. She has friends. She smiles. She's learning to be a kid again. He looked directly at Velthus. You say she's hope for your people, but what about her hope? Her happiness? Does that not matter? Her individual happiness is less important than the good of our entire species, Velthus said coldly. You are too limited to understand. Humans always think small. You think about one person, one life. We think about millions of lives across centuries. Maybe that's why she bonded with me, Doyen said quietly. Maybe she needed someone who saw her as a person, not a symbol. The arguments continued for 3 more days. Finally, Administrator Jiho announced they would take a break while legal experts reviewed all the claims. A decision would be made in 1 week. That night, Doyen came home exhausted. Nari was waiting in the living room with Dr. Yunji. We need to talk, Dr. Yunji said. They sat down together. Dr. Yunji pulled up data on her tablet. I've been studying Nari's abilities. There's something important you both need to know. What is it? Doyen asked. Nari's powers are not developing like previous conduits. She's evolving differently because of her exposure to human emotional patterns. Previous conduits could only share emotions within their own species. But Nari can sense and share emotions across different species. Is that bad? Nari asked nervously. It's unprecedented, Dr. Yunji said. It means you're becoming something new, something the galaxy has never seen before. And the reason is simple. Humans bond emotionally across species barriers in ways most species don't. Doyen's love taught you to love beyond biology. Doyen felt a chill. Does this change the legal case? It might. The Velkari argue that Nari needs Velkari training, but if she's developing abilities they can't teach, their argument weakens. The next day, Dr. Yunji presented her findings to the council. The room erupted in arguments. The Velkari delegation was furious. This is speculation, Velthus shouted. Based on limited testing, she still needs proper training. Training only we can provide. But doubt had been planted. Several council members started asking hard questions. If Nari was truly unique, was traditional conduit training even appropriate? That evening, Doyen sat on the couch feeling overwhelmed. His friend Seojin, a fellow cargo pilot, came to visit. You look terrible, Seojin said. I feel terrible. Maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe Nari does need to go with her people. Maybe my love isn't enough. Sojin sat down next to him. Do you remember why you adopted her? Because she was sad. Because we understood each other. No, you adopted her because you saw her as a person when everyone else saw a problem. You didn't adopt her for what she could become. You adopted her for who she was. But what if I'm limiting her? What if she could do amazing things with proper training? Or what if forcing her into that life breaks her again? Sojin countered. She's 7 years old. She's been through trauma. Right now she needs safety and love more than she needs to be someone's hope for the future. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Nari woke up with her skin flashing bright red. She ran to Doyun crying. I had a dream, she sobbed. A nightmare. I was at a place I didn't know. With people I didn't know. They were teaching me things, but they didn't hug me. They didn't read me stories. They treated me like I was special, but not like I was loved. And I couldn't find you. Doyun held her close. It was just a dream. But what if it comes true? What if I have to go? I'm fighting to prevent that. But what if you lose? Nari looked up at him with terrified eyes. What if I never see you again? That question broke something in Doyun. He had been trying to be strong, to follow the rules, to trust the system. But in that moment he realized the truth. Systems did not care about love. They cared about law and politics and species rights. Nobody in those council meetings cared about one small girl's nightmares. Listen to me, he said seriously. No matter what happens in these meetings, you are my daughter. I will never stop fighting for you. Even if they take you to that monastery, I will find a way to see you. To talk to you. I will never abandon you. Promise? Nari whispered. I promise, forever. Later that day, the Velkari delegation made a new offer. Ambassador Youngmi delivered it personally. High Counselor Velthus has agreed to a compromise. Nari can stay with you, but she must spend 3 days each week at the Velkari embassy for training. She will learn conduit techniques from Master Velsana, who has traveled from deep space specifically for this purpose. And if we refuse? Doyun asked. Then the Velkari will petition the Galactic Council to override the adoption completely. The council is divided, but the Velkari have powerful allies. You might lose everything. Doyun looked at Nari. What do you want? Nari was quiet for a long time. I want to stay with you. If training 3 days a week means I can stay, then I'll do it. You don't have to. Yes, I do, Nari said. Her skin shifted to determined purple. Because you're my family. I'll do whatever it takes to stay your family. Doyun felt pride and heartbreak at the same time. His little girl was willing to sacrifice her comfort to keep them together. Okay, he told Ambassador Youngmi, but I have conditions. The training must be age-appropriate. If Nari is uncomfortable or scared, it stops immediately, and I get to observe any session I choose. I'll present your terms. The council met again. Arguments continued. The Velkari wanted more control. Earth's delegation wanted more protections for Nari. Everyone had opinions about what was best for a child none of them really knew. Finally, in frustration, Administrator Jiho made an unexpected announcement. This council is deadlocked. We've been debating for 2 weeks and gotten nowhere. I propose we let Nari speak for herself. Let the person at the center of this decision have a voice. The room went silent. Then slowly people nodded. Even High Counselor Velthus could not argue against letting the child speak. We will reconvene tomorrow, Jiho said. Nari will address this council and share her wishes. Then we will make a final decision. That night, Doyun and Nari sat together trying to figure out what she would say, but words seemed too small for feelings so big. What if I say the wrong thing? Nari asked. There is no wrong thing. Just tell the truth. Tell them how you feel. I'm scared, I know, but I'll be right there with you. And no matter what happens tomorrow, we face it together. Nari nodded. Then she had an idea. Dr. Yunji said my powers can share emotions. What if I show them how I feel instead of just telling them?
Can you do that?
I don't know, but I want to try. 6 months passed. Life became normal in ways Doyun had not expected. Nari went to school every day. She had 3 friends now. Her skin showed colors regularly. Greens when she was happy, blues when she was worried, yellows when she was curious. She talked freely, though she was still quiet by nature. Doyun returned to his shipping routes, but only short ones. Nothing that kept him away for more than 2 days. Every evening he came home to find Nari doing homework or drawing pictures. They would eat dinner together and talk about their days. It felt like family. On a Tuesday evening, everything changed. Doyen was making dinner when the apartment's lights started to flicker. He frowned and checked the control panel. Everything showed normal. The lights flickered again, then went out completely for 3 seconds before coming back on. "That's strange," he muttered. "Doyun," Nari called from her room. Her voice sounded scared. He rushed to her doorway and stopped dead. Nari was floating. Actually floating. 3 feet above her bed, surrounded by a soft glow of white light. Small objects from her room, books, toys, pencils, were orbiting around her like planets around a sun. "Nari, what? I don't know," she cried. "I can't stop it. I was doing homework and then I felt strange and then this happened." The light around her grew brighter. The orbiting objects spun faster. The apartment lights flickered wildly. Doyen forced himself to stay calm. "It's okay. We'll figure this out. Just breathe slowly. Can you try to calm down?" "I'm trying." Nari's skin was flashing bright red, fear and panic. The light around her pulsed in response. Doyen's communication device beeped. He pulled it out. A message from station security. "Attention residential sector. Please remain in your quarters. We are investigating unusual energy readings." The readings were coming from his apartment. He knew it. There was a loud knock on the door. "Station security. Please open the door." Doyen looked at Nari, still floating and glowing. "I have to let them in." "It'll be okay." He opened the door. Security Officer Tae-hyun stood there with 3 other officers, all holding scanning devices. "We traced the energy source to this." He stopped when he saw past Doyen into Nari's room. "What in the galaxy?" "Please don't hurt her," Doyen said quickly. "She's just scared. She doesn't know what's happening." Tae-hyun slowly stepped inside, his eyes wide. "I'm not going to hurt anyone. But we need to call the medical team, and probably the science division." Within an hour, Doyen's apartment was full of people. Dr. Yoonji arrived first, followed by Dr. Min-jae, the station's chief xenobiologist. They convinced Nari to come down from floating, but the light around her did not completely fade. "This is impossible," Dr. Min-jae kept saying. "This is completely impossible." "What is it?" Doyen demanded. "What's wrong with her?" "Nothing is wrong," Dr. Yoonji said softly. "Something is very, very right. But we need to run tests." "Is that okay, Nari?" Nari looked at Doyen. He nodded. "I'll be with you the whole time." They moved to the medical center. For 3 hours, doctors ran scans and tests. Nari sat on an exam table, her skin flickering nervously while Doyen held her hand. Finally, Dr. Yoonji and Dr. Min-jae came back with results. "Nari is a conduit," Dr. Yoonji said. "What does that mean?" Doyen asked. Dr. Min-jae pulled up information on a screen. "Velkari have latent psionic abilities. Most never develop them. But in extremely rare cases, about 1 in 10 million, a Velkari child becomes what they call a conduit. Someone who can manifest mental and emotional powers in physical ways. The last known conduit was documented over 200 years ago," Dr. Yoonji added. "She became a legendary peacekeeper. She could share emotions across entire populations. She prevented 3 wars by making people feel each other's pain and joy." Doyen looked at Nari, who seemed very small on the large exam table. "But why now? Why didn't this happen at the shelter?" "That's the interesting part," Dr. Min-jae said. "Conduit abilities only emerge under specific conditions. The child must experience extreme emotional resonance, a deep, genuine connection with someone. Usually their family, but Nari's birth family died. The trauma locked her abilities away. Until you," Dr. Yoonji said, looking at Doyen. "Your love and care created an environment where she felt safe enough for her true nature to emerge. You literally loved her into becoming what she was meant to be." Nari squeezed Doyen's hand. "Is it bad? Am I dangerous?" "No, sweetheart," Dr. Yoonji said quickly. "You're extraordinary, but you'll need training. These powers are strong, and right now they're responding to your emotions. We need to teach you control." Station Administrator Jiho called a private meeting the next day. He was a serious man who rarely smiled, but he looked concerned rather than angry. "This situation is complicated," he said. "Word has already spread through the station. By tomorrow, the whole sector will know. By next week, the Galactic Council will know." "What does that mean for Nari?" Doyen asked. "I don't know yet. But there are laws about individuals with dangerous abilities. And there are Velkari cultural laws about conduits. Her people may have a claim on her. She's my daughter, Doyen said firmly. I adopted her legally, I understand. But this is bigger than station law now. That night, Doyen tried to explain things to Nari. She sat on her bed, her skin dark with worry. Are they going to take me away? She asked. I won't let that happen, Doyen promised. But things might get difficult. Important people might want to meet you, ask you questions. Will you be brave? I'll try. But I'm scared. Me too, Doyen admitted. But we'll face it together. 3 days later, a Velkari ship arrived at the station. Doyen received a message that the Velkari Remnant Council wanted to meet with him. The council was what remained of Nari's species government after the wars destroyed their homeworld. The meeting took place in a formal conference room. On one side sat Ambassador Youngmi, a human who worked as a liaison between Earth and Velkari interests. Next to her was High Counselor Velthas, a tall Velkari with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Mr. Doyen, Velthas said through a translator, we are grateful for the care you have given this child. However, you must understand the significance of what has happened. I understand she's special, Doyen said. She is more than special. She is hope. Our species is scattered across the galaxy. We have no homeworld, no unity. A conduit could bring us together. She could be a leader, a symbol, a teacher for our people. She's 7 years old, Doyen said. She's 7 years old now. But conduits live long lives. With proper training, she could guide our species for centuries. Ambassador Youngmi spoke up. What High Counselor Velthas is trying to say is that the Velkari Remnant Council formally requests that Nari be returned to her people. They have a monastery on New Velkar where all conduits are trained. No, Doyen said immediately. Mr. Doyen, she is my daughter. I adopted her legally. She's happy here. She's healing here. Velthas's skin flashed orange, anger. You do not understand what you are keeping from us. Our people are dying out. Our culture is being lost. This child could save us. She's not a tool, Doyen said. She's a person. A child who lost everything. She deserves to have a childhood, not to be trained as some kind of weapon or symbol. We are not asking, Velthas said coldly. By Velkari law, all conduits belong to the temple. We will petition the Galactic Council to override your adoption and return her to us. Doyen stood up. Then I'll fight you. In every court, every hearing, every step of the way. She's my daughter. As he left the meeting, Ambassador Youngmi caught up with him in the hallway. Mr. Doyen, wait. I understand your feelings. I really do. But you need to know what you're up against. The Velkari have powerful allies. This will become a galactic incident. I don't care, Doyen said. Nari chose me. I chose her. That's all that matters. But in his heart, Doyen was terrified. He was just a cargo pilot. How could he fight an entire species government? How could he protect Nari from forces so much bigger than himself? That night he held Nari as she cried. She had heard about the meeting. She knew people wanted to take her away. I don't want to go, she sobbed. I don't remember that place. I don't know those people. You're my family now. I know, Doyen whispered. I know, and I'm going to do everything I can to keep you here. I promise, but promises felt very small against the weight of galactic law. The first night was harder than Doyen expected. Nari stood in the doorway of her new bedroom and would not move. She just stared at the bed, the small desk, the window showing the stars outside. It's okay, Doyen said. You can look around. This is your room. Nari did not move. After 20 minutes, Doyen realized she was afraid. Afraid of the new place. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of everything. Would you like to sleep in the living room instead? He asked. I can set up blankets on the couch. Nari nodded quickly. Doyen pulled cushions and blankets into the living room. He made a soft nest on the floor next to the couch. Nari crawled into it immediately and curled into a tight ball. I'll be right here on the couch, Doyen said. If you need anything, just make a noise. Any noise. I'll wake up. He lay on the couch with a thin blanket. The apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the station's air system. After an hour, he heard small sounds from the floor. Crying. Very quiet, like she was trying not to be heard. Doyen did not say anything. He just lowered his hand over the side of the couch, letting it hang there. After a few minutes, he felt small, cool fingers grip his hand. He held on gently. Eventually, the crying stopped. The next morning brought new challenges. Doyen tried to make breakfast. He had taken a class on Velkari nutrition, But theory was different from practice. Velkari needed special mineral supplements mixed with their food. The texture had to be right. The temperature had to be exact. His first attempt looked like gray paste. Nari sat at the table and stared at it. She did not touch the food. "I know it looks bad," Doyen admitted. "I'll do better tomorrow." "Are you hungry at all?" Nari shook her head. But Doyun noticed she had not eaten at the shelter yesterday either. He felt worry growing in his chest. "Please try one bite," he said. "Just one." "For me." Nari picked up the spoon. Her hand shook. She took the smallest bite possible and swallowed quickly. Then she put the spoon down. "Thank you," Doyen said. "That's enough for now." The days developed a pattern. Doyen would wake early and try to make breakfast. Nari would eat a few bites. They would sit together in silence. Doyen had taken time off from his shipping routes, so his days were free. He tried to fill them with quiet activities. He read books to her. She would sit nearby and listen, her gray face showing no emotion. He played soft music. She did not react. He tried to teach her simple games. She followed the rules but seemed to feel nothing. After 2 weeks, Doyen called Dr. Yunji, the station's xenobiologist. "I don't know if I'm doing this right," he admitted. "She barely eats. She doesn't talk. She doesn't show any colors. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe she needs professional help." Dr. Yunji came to visit that afternoon. She was a kind woman with gentle eyes. She sat with Nari for a long time, asking simple questions that Nari did not answer. Finally, she spoke to Doyen in the kitchen. "Her body is healthy," Dr. Yunji said, "but her mind is very hurt. The trauma goes deep. You're doing the right things, giving her space, being consistent, not forcing her. But healing takes time. Months, maybe years. What if I can't help her?" Doyen asked. "You already are helping her. She's eating, even if it's just a little. She's sleeping in the same room as you. She held your hand. These are all signs of trust beginning to form. Don't give up." Dr. Yunji started visiting once a week. She taught Doyen better cooking techniques. She brought special supplements that helped with Velkari emotional health. She showed him how to create the right lighting conditions. 12 hours of complete darkness each night was essential for Velkari rest. Slowly, very slowly, things improved. After a month, Nari started eating full meals. After 6 weeks, she moved into her bedroom at night, though she kept the door open. After 2 months, Doyen noticed tiny changes in her behavior. She would stand by the window and watch the ships come and go. She would touch his old photographs, looking at the faces of people she never met. She would sit closer to him when he read stories, sometimes even leaning against his shoulder. One day, Doyen came home from a quick supply run to the station market. He had been gone for 3 hours. When he walked through the door, he found something unexpected. His collection of old Earth photographs was spread across the table. He kept them in a box usually, memories of his old life. Nari had taken them all out and arranged them in a pattern. In the center, she had placed the photo of his daughter, Sumin. Nari stood nearby, watching him nervously. Her skin flickered with the faintest hint of blue light. Fear. She thought she had done something wrong. "It's okay," Doyen said quickly. "You didn't break any rules. I'm surprised." He walked to the table and picked up Sumin's photo. His daughter smiled at him from 8 years in the past. "This was my daughter. Her name was Sumin." Nari moved closer. She pointed at the photo, then at Doyen. Her meaning was clear. She saw the connection between them. "She was very kind," Doyen said. "Like you." She was quiet too. She liked books and drawing and looking at the stars. Nari stared at the photo for a long moment. Then she did something that shocked Doyen. She spoke. Her voice was rough from months of not talking, and she spoke slowly in Galactic Common, the language most species used. "She looks kind, like you." Doyen felt tears in his eyes. "You can talk." "Yes," Nari whispered. "I just did not want to." Talking hurt, and now? Still hurts, but less hurt. "Because you are kind." Doyen knelt down to her level. "You can talk whenever you want. Or never talk. I don't mind either way. I'm just happy you're here." Nari reached out and touched his face like she was checking if he was real. "Why did you take me?" "Nobody wanted me. I am broken." "You're not broken," Doyen said firmly. "You're hurt. That's different. And I took you because we understood each other. Because everyone deserves someone who cares. Because I needed you as much as you needed me." Nari's skin flickered again. This time, a soft yellow mixed with the blue, sadness and something else. Something that might have been hope. From that day, everything changed. Nari started talking more. Just a few words at first, then simple sentences. She asked questions about the station, about Earth, about everything. Her curiosity was slowly waking up. Doyen enrolled her in the station school for refugee children. The first day was hard. Nari clung to his hand and her skin went dark gray again. But the teacher, a patient woman named Soman, was experienced with traumatized children. "We'll go slow," Soman promised. "She can sit in the back and just watch for the first week. No pressure." By the end of the first week, Nari was participating in one activity. By the end of the month, she had made a friend, a shy Krintal boy who was also learning to trust again. 3 months after adoption, Doyen received a message from Hyejin at the shelter. Other families who had adopted refugee children were struggling. Would Doyen be willing to talk to them, share what worked for him? Doyen agreed. He started attending monthly meetings for adoptive parents. He shared his experiences, the failures, the small victories, the importance of patience. He told them that healing was not linear. There would be good days and bad days. But consistency and love mattered more than doing everything perfectly. One evening, Doyen and Nari sat together on the couch. She was looking at a picture book from Earth, her skin glowing soft green. Content. Happy. "Doyen," she said quietly. "Yes? Thank you for not giving up on me." Doyen pulled her close. "Never. Not ever." Nari's skin brightened to a warm yellow-green. For the first time since her colony died, she felt something other than pain. She felt safe. She felt wanted. She felt home. Neither of them knew what was coming. Neither of them understood that Nari was becoming something the galaxy had not seen in centuries. For now, they were just a man and a girl learning to be a family, and that was enough. Doyen walked through the glass doors of the Interspecies Adoption Center for the 4th time that month. The building smelled like recycled air and too many different species living in one place. He signed his name on the volunteer sheet and put on his visitor badge. "Back again?" Hyejin asked from behind the front desk. She was the coordinator who ran the shelter. "You know, Doyen, you spend more time here than some of our paid staff." Doyen shrugged. "I have the time. My shipping routes are light this month." That was partly true. The real truth was harder to say out loud. 5 years ago, his wife and daughter died when Centauri Station exploded. Since then, his apartment felt too quiet. Work filled his days, but the evenings were the worst. Volunteering at the shelter gave him something to do. Something that felt useful. "We got 3 new kids yesterday," Hyejin said. 2 Krintal siblings and 1 Velkari girl. "The Krintal boys are in the play area if you want to help with afternoon activities." Doyen nodded and walked toward the common room. The shelter was always full these days. The wars in the Outer Rim created thousands of refugees every month. Most were children who lost their families. Different species, different worlds, but all carrying the same kind of sadness. The common room had bright walls and lots of toys. Station designers thought cheerful colors would help the children feel better. It did not work very well. About 20 children sat in small groups. Some played games. Others just stared at nothing. Doyen helped a young Krintal boy stack blocks for a while. The boy did not talk much, but he seemed to enjoy the simple activity. After an hour, Doyen stood up to stretch his legs. That was when he saw her. In the far corner of the room, a small figure sat alone. She was pressed against the wall with her knees pulled up to her chest. Her skin was dull gray, almost lifeless. Doyen knew enough about aliens to recognize a Velkari child. Their skin usually glowed with colors that showed their feelings. This girl showed nothing. He walked over to Hyejin, who was organizing art supplies. "That girl in the corner, the Velkari. Is she okay?" Hyejin looked up and sighed. "That's the new one I mentioned. We call her 7-3 because we don't know her real name. She hasn't spoken since she arrived 3 months ago." 3 months? I thought you said she came yesterday. No, she came to us 3 months ago. She just got transferred here yesterday from the medical wing. The doctors could not find anything physically wrong with her. They think it's trauma. Hyejin put down the supplies. Her whole colony was destroyed. She was the only survivor they found. Doyen felt something twist in his chest. He looked back at the small gray figure. "Has anyone tried to adopt her?" 73 families have met her. No one wanted to take her home. Hyejin spoke softly. "Velkari children are difficult even when they're healthy. They need special food, special light conditions, and they're very sensitive to emotions. A child this damaged? Most people don't want the challenge. Can I meet her? Hijin looked surprised. You want to adopt? Maybe, I don't know yet. Can I just meet her first? Of course. Just be gentle. She gets scared easily. Doyon walked slowly toward the corner. He stopped a few feet away and sat down on the floor. He did not try to get closer. He just sat there giving her space. Hello, he said quietly. My name is Doyon. I'm a volunteer here. The girl did not move. She did not look at him. I'm not very good at this, Doyon continued. I haven't talked to children much in a long time. But I wanted to say hi. You don't have to talk back if you don't want to. Still nothing. Doyon sat in silence for a few minutes. He did not force conversation. He just existed near her, letting her get used to his presence. I lost my family too, he finally said, 5 years ago. My wife's name was Jiwon. My daughter was Sumin. She was 8 years old. There was an accident at the station where we lived. I was away on a shipping run. I came home and they were gone. The girl's head moved slightly, just a tiny turn toward him. Progress. It was very hard, Doyon said. It's still hard sometimes. The sadness doesn't go away completely, but it gets different. Less sharp. More like a dull ache instead of a knife. He stood up slowly. I'll be here next weekend too. If you want to sit quietly together again, I'd like that. If you don't want me around, that's okay too. Doyon came back the next weekend, and the weekend after that. Each time he sat near the gray girl. Sometimes he talked. Sometimes he just sat in silence. After the 4th visit, she shifted a little closer to him. After the 6th visit, she leaned slightly against his leg. On the 8th visit, Doyon brought a book. It had pictures of Earth and simple stories. He read out loud, not really expecting her to care. But halfway through the 2nd story, he felt her move closer. She was looking at the pictures. Do you like the stories? He asked. For the first time, she nodded. Just a small movement, but it was something. That evening, Doyon stayed late to talk to Hijin. I want to start the adoption process. Hijin looked concerned. Doyon, are you sure? Valkyrie children are very difficult, and this one has special needs. The trauma, the silence, the care requirements, it's a huge commitment. I know. You'll need to take classes, learn about Valkyrie biology, modify your apartment. The process takes at least 3 months. I understand. Why? Hijin asked. Why this child? You could adopt a human child, or a species that's easier to care for. Doyon thought about his answer. When I look at her, I see someone who understands. She knows what it's like when your whole world ends, when everyone else moves on but you're still stuck in the sadness. I can't fix that for her. But maybe we can be stuck together. Maybe that's better than being stuck alone. Hijin smiled sadly. You're either very kind or very foolish. Maybe both. Probably both. Doyon agreed. 3 months later, after classes and interviews and home inspections, Doyon returned to the shelter. This time he had approval papers. Hijin brought the gray girl to a private room. Sweetheart, Hijin said gently. Remember Doyon? He wants to take you home, to his family. Would you like that? The girl looked at Doyon with large dark eyes. She did not speak. But after a long moment, she reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cool and thin. I'm going to call you Nari, Doyon said softly. It means lily, a flower that grows even in difficult places. Is that okay? Nari stared at him. Then, for just a second, the smallest hint of pale blue light flickered across her fingertips. It faded quickly, but it had been there. Hijin gasped. That's the first color she's shown since arriving. Doyon squeezed Nari's hand gently. Let's go home. As they walked out of the shelter together, Doyon did not know what the future would bring. He did not know if he could really help this broken child. He only knew that they both needed someone, and sometimes that was enough to start with.